Okay, everybody, welcome back to Guess Who Gifts. Again, my name is Brian, and today I'm going to be making a Valentine heart sublimation tumbler, and it's going to start off obviously blank. And you know, I keep saying this, I'm going to make sure y'all know this. There's when you get them, they come in a little white box most of the time like this, and there's, to know it's sublimation, I think this is how you can tell it's sublimation, but they always have this little, sorry for all the moving, this little silver thing on the bottom, and I always remove that before I bake it because it curls up kind of funnily. So anyway, I'm going to make a tumbler for Valentine's Day, and today I'm going to be using the silicone wrap method. So I do sell these. There's a link below to my Etsy page that sells these. Some places sell them for as much as $40. Mine are $25. And again, I'll put the link on my page. So here we go. Oh, don't forget to subscribe below and like my page. I'm trying to, my long-term goal is to give everybody on my YouTube channel or my Facebook page a discount on tumblers and other products. So anyway, here we go. This is the design. I'll show you what I'm going to be making. Okay, so the first thing you need to do, I talked about this in another video, but you obviously want to find the image that you're going to be doing. And so sorry for the screen looking like this, but I'm going to be printing just, you know, a bunch of hearts that have the little messages all over it, love or whatever they are. Anyway, and I'm using Silhouette Studio, obviously. You know, I use multiple products, but Silhouette Studio is good. And I have an Epson EcoTank 4760. You know, this is a good printer, but it only prints 8.5 by 11. I haven't had any problems with it. And again, make sure you use sublimation ink in here. Don't use the ink that it comes with. You need to make sure that it's sublimation ink. I happen to use Printer's Jack. A lot of people like Cosmo, but just make sure you're not putting in the Epson ink that it comes with when you buy a printer. So anyway, the first thing you got to do is measure your tumbler. I recommend getting a tape measure like this to make sure that you know exactly what size tumbler you're going to be printing on. I'll go ahead and flip the camera around to show you me doing that. One second. So like I said in a previous video on everything you need for sublimation for a tumbler, one of the things I mentioned is that when you buy a tumbler from someone, you know, they're all roughly the same, but they can vary just a little bit. So before you actually get it on there and waste a sheet of paper, I like to make sure you measure it. So this one's 9, a little short of 9.5, but 9 1/4 basically. I don't know if you can see that right there, right? And then my height, and this is what's funny. Normally the tumblers that I have are like right at 8.2. This one's a little higher than that, and so I don't know if it's just the bottom is curved more or whatnot, but so I want to make sure that I have the exact right height, and you can see it's a little. Normally it was like 8.2. These are like 8.3, 8.4. So not a huge deal. I actually printed a few of them that were 8.2, and you could just see a little white line on the bottom. It actually made it easy because you could see a nice clean line. So you maybe like this tumbler, and then you'll see a nice clean white line along the bottom. You can't even see it once you set it down. So anyway, here I go. I'm going to print this image. So I just hit print. I went up to file and hit print. And for some reason, my computer's acting a little slow at the moment, but it's thinking. There's a setting in Silhouette Studio where you can say pull up your specific printer's dialog box or the Windows dialog box. But and I have it do that. So when I hit print, this pops up. Make sure you choose your sublimation printer and go to preferences. When you go to preferences, you know, for this specifically, you need to make sure that you are doing landscape. Let me find that, wherever that was. Oh, right here, where it says landscape. You want to make sure you're picking landscape, and then make sure you know how many copies you're doing. I'm only doing one this time. And then if you want to do borderless, you can, but that would be something bigger than the print that I'm doing. And then on more options, you want to make sure that you have the image mirrored. Whenever you're doing sublimation, you want to do mirrored, and always uncheck this high speed because you want a good quality image. And then on this main page, I think I showed everyone, but you want to make sure it says high quality. People say change the paper type. I just leave it as plain paper. Some do photo paper, some do glossy. I don't know. I just do plain paper and then high quality and okay, and then print. And so now it's printing, and as soon as it comes out, I will show you the next step. Okay, so now that the image has printed, you can see there's a white square around it. Obviously, you want to remove that. This is where I said one of these paper cutters comes in handy. This one is a Fisker, but you can buy any brand you want. You want to make sure when you're doing it that you get that little silver line right along the edge. If anything, you want to go in further and not allow the white line, especially on the two sides. On the top and the bottom, the white line doesn't matter as much, but you want to make sure you have no white line right here. I don't think there's a white one there. It might look like it on camera, but you can see no white line along that. Do the same thing on the other side. To make sure you don't have a seam, you got to make so you can see there's a little bit of the color on this and no white line on here. So that's the way I like it. And again, on the up and down, on the top and the bottom, it doesn't matter as much, but see, I have a little white line on the bottom. It's funny that happened. Almost none though. The other thing you want to make sure is you know which one is the top and which side is the bottom. So I have done quite a bit of them upside down. You can see that one's upside down. I have a bunch of others that are upside down as well. So anyway, here's my image. I'm gonna put this away and move my trash. Okay, so now, like I said, you take the little silver thing off the bottom, take your top off because you don't want to put that in the oven and melt it. And then I always use a lint-free cloth. I bought it from a car wash place, or maybe I bought it from Amazon, but now you just want to take any of the excess. You can use your shirt if you want or whatever, just as long as it's lint-free. You want to get all the excess, and if there's any like plastic or fingerprints or grease or anything, you just don't want anything to ruin your image. So there's that. And then again, you want to make sure that you are printing it so the words are not going to be upside down, right? You're going to want to make sure that it's right side up, so you don't have an upside down image. So as you can see, all I did was just kind of sit it there so it looks perfect. Line up the two lines, and I always do the top down so that if there's a little bit of white showing, it's along the bottom. It's not as big a deal. You don't want a white ring along the top. That'd be awful. So anyway, you can see I'm going as tight as I can all the way around this thing. And now I'm gonna get this one doesn't really matter if there's a bigger overlap. Some of your images might, but I'm just gonna leave this maybe, I don't know, 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter overlap. You could cut off another piece depending on what your image is, and this one doesn't really matter because it doesn't need to even line up. It's just a bunch of hearts. So I really like this dispenser for my heat tape. It makes it much easier. You can see I can do it one-handed instead of trying to cut it or do whatever. And so one of the most important pieces when you're doing sublimation is you need to get this airtight, right? So you can't have any bubbles here. You know, I go up and down with my fingernail. Probably you'll see me do it the whole time throughout the process, going up and down to make sure it's airtight, because if any of the ink or when it turns into a gas can get out, then you're not gonna have a good quality. It'll look blurry, right? And so that means if your image ever looks blurry, that means you didn't wrap something tight enough. And so To put the second one on, I leave a little bit of, you can see the tape's not all the way on, but it is right here on this side. So then what I do is I squeeze the paper around the mug or tumbler and then just seal it off like that. And so now that's super tight. And then I go over it, like I said, with my fingernail. And then I do the same thing right here too. So it takes me about four or five pieces to actually cover it. Some people just do it all in one. I don't know. This is just what I've been doing. You can see I don't have it all the way down, but I do on this side. So this side I've pressed. There's a little bubble, but I'll show you what I do with that. That side I've pressed, this side is up still. And I just squeeze around to bring the paper as tight as possible and just go over like that. And so now I've gotten it as tight as possible. And I just go up and down the seam with my fingernail. The better you do that, the better you're gonna luck you're gonna have. So then with the bottom, see I just have a little bit left. It's hard to do it upside down, but I have a little bit left. I'm just gonna go right here, squeeze the paper, and just fold it right up over onto the bottom like that. Cool. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the top. Just a little half inch, I don't know, whatever I'm not good at measuring, but so anyway, I leave it just on that side, squeeze the paper, and then just fold it right over. I want to make sure there's no white, like that the paper's going right up to the edge, like that. Now again, I'm doing the whatever this is called, silicone wrap method. If you're nervous and you want to make sure that it's super tight, you can do a piece of masking tape on the top and on the bottom, and maybe one in the middle, but you don't need it. If anything, top and bottom. I'm not going to do that, and I'm just going to show you how easy it is to use this wrap. So let me see if I can tilt you down so you can see the full wrap. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it and align the top just perfectly. Let me come over to it from the side. Okay, so I'm going to line the top. Hopefully you can see that okay. If not, I'm sorry. Align the top just perfectly so there's no wiggle room whatsoever. And so then you just pull this and go through these two little loops, and watch this. You just squeeze it like so on both sides, and you hear it click in. So now this is as tight as you can be. It's just like a mug wrap if you've ever done a mug. And so, you know, there's a few little pieces here, and it's not exactly to the bottom. Like I said, this tumbler that I just bought, the tumblers that I bought are just like a centimeter bigger than all the other ones I've sold. But because I did this so tight, maybe you could have done a piece of masking tape here on the bottom and again one on the top. That would have sealed the deal. But now this is as tight as you're going to get with shrink wrap or anything. And now I'm ready to put it in the oven. So what I'm going to do is turn you off, and I'm going to preheat the oven, and I'll show you that, and then some other cool things you can do with these silicone mug wraps or tumbler wraps. Okay, so I just want to, my oven's already preheated, but I wanted to show this to you real quick. So again, this is the Hamilton Beach. It's an XL, I think. I forget the exact name of it, but it's pretty big. It's not one of the ones you have to lay down, but you do take out this middle rack, and you can see it goes up to like 450 if you want it to, but I set mine right at like 385. I don't know if y'all can see that, like 385. And I have my air fryer setting on, and this is the start and stop. I don't need to turn on the rotisserie. The cool thing about it is there's a little thing for the rotisserie that you can hang your thermometer on. And see, I've had it preheating now for like 20 minutes, and I set it to 385, but the inside is right at 360, right? And so that's a perfect temperature for either shrink wrap or the silicone wrap method. And again, I turn on the air fryer because this little fan blows in there. What I was going to say is, I'm not going to do it now, but if you slide out this tray that's in there, you can fit one of these silicone wraps as a mat as well if you want to use it there, or you can use a different. I also have some of these little mug wraps. You can set that in as a as a mat. I use a mat sometimes when you're using the shrink wrap, because you can see it starts to melt sometimes on the bottom of the oven. So anyway, my temperature's on 385, but in here it's 360, 370. It might have gone up just because I put it on 450 for a second, but I try to keep it around 360, so I just turned it down another degree. Anyway, so I have my glove on that I was talking about, and I'm opening this, and then I just set it with the bottom down like so, and I try to make sure it's right in the middle. And another cool thing I like about this oven is just make sure this thing is in line with this rotisserie thing, because I know that's the middle. So boom, boom. So now I shut the oven and I set the timer for 6 minutes, and then we wait. I happen to rotate, so I rotate. You can either rotate it occasionally, or when you go halfway through at about 3 minutes, rotate and then flip it over. A lot of people don't do that. It's just something I've always done. I'll see you in a few minutes. So real quick, I'm about halfway through. I'm just gonna flip it real quick. Like I said, what I do is I kind of turn it and then flip it like so. You can see all I did was turn it a little bit and rotate it just 1/4. Not a full 360 or anything, or 180. But anyway, we have like 2 minutes and something left. I'll show you in a second. And we're still hanging right at 350, 360. Okay, we're at 3, 2, 1, and there it goes. This one has an automatic shut off, but you can go to a stay on setting. So I like the timer though, and I like it turning off. So anyway, so there it is. You can see a little bit of smoke maybe. I could see it coming off, but here's the tumbler. Now I did forget one thing. Just so you know, I forgot to put parchment paper. So I have a little parchment paper or butcher paper dispenser, and I forgot I was supposed to put that in between the silicone and the A-sub paper. The only reason you want to do that is because some of the ink will get on your silicone wrap, and you don't want the image to then get on your next mug that you do. But I always use it. I guess I got excited videoing. I had it ready and everything, and I just forgot to put it on there. But basically, you would see a little bit of this sticking out. You would have wrapped this, taped it with the same heat tape, and then put this on. So you do need to be careful touching this. Obviously, it's pretty hot. I'm going to put my other oven mitt on and show you me taking it off and revealing the finished product. Okay, I'm putting this glove on, and it's just like if you've ever done any mugs, it's the same exact thing, right? So it just pops off nice and easily. Well, there you go. And this is hot, so I set it just on another one that I happen to have instead of this table. But then you peel off the pretty tape like so, and then here is your final product. I mean, there's your seam, almost nothing, right? See how easy that is? I mean, it's perfect, right? No, absolutely no blurring, no, nothing. It's actually a very, there might be one little spot right here that isn't exactly perfect, but for the most part, I mean, this thing is, you know, exactly what I'm looking for in a tumbler. So I said it in another video, but one of the things I do is I always take a little wipe, and it doesn't need to be alcohol or anything, but I just take it, and just in case there's any residue from the ink or the paper, I just kind of wipe it off and whatnot, and there you go. And then normally what I do is I put one of those rubber bottoms. I ran out yesterday. Rubber bottoms on the bottom so it doesn't make that clanky noise. So the rubber bottoms really help. I do sell them normally. I just don't have any today. I will get some in next week. But here is the finished product. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't put this in right away while it's hot. You don't want to melt the rubber gasket or whatnot. So that's why I'm not doing that. I hope you enjoyed. Again, this is Brian from Guess Who Gifts. And check out my Etsy page below, my Facebook page if you want to learn. I have a bunch of other videos that I'm posting. And don't forget to subscribe. And and if you do join my Facebook page, I tend to give discounts to some of my products. So thanks again. Subscribe. Join the Facebook group. Talk to you later.